Well, hello everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in to this Saturday Q&A session edition. Really good to see everyone here on YouTube. I have been not MIA from YouTube, but I have not done my due diligence with creating enough content, especially this past year. But that is about to change. It's one reason I'm doing this live Q&A specifically on YouTube. I'm about to really reinvigorate my YouTube game with a lot of tutorials, all sorts of videos in the works and on the schedule. So I'm really excited to get back into YouTube specifically, and really excited to spend some time with you guys here to answer any and all of your questions about mainly the business side of web design. Now, if you know me, I'm an open book, so happy to answer anything. I know we've got some good questions already. Derek has a couple questions outside of the realm of business that I'm happy to answer, but I'm excited to spend some time with you and talk shop a little bit. Thank you, by the way, for everyone joining today. I know it's college football day here in the States. I did rock my OSU jersey or my shirt at least, since we're close by. More of a hockey fan myself, so I could, if I don't watch college football on a Saturday, I'm fine, but did want to represent today. But great to see you guys. Just wanted to give a couple minutes for everyone to file in here. So to kick us off here, I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can within this hour. And let me make sure. Artha said the volume is very low. Is that the same for everybody? Because it is as high as I can get it on my end. Let's try this. Is that any better? Can you guys let me know if that's better on the volume front? Aretha, is that right? Said the volume is very low. So before we get to answering questions, let me know if this sounds better, guys. Let me know if this mic is a little better for you. Otherwise, I'd say just crank up the volume on your end. Okay. Is it Jaha? Is that right? That is better. Okay, we're going with the mic. We're going with the big mic today. I was gonna do the other mic, but all right, so we're good to go. Cool. Wanted to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to get to as many questions as I can here when it comes to the business side of web design. So we're going to start off with, actually, Austin, one of my members of Web Designer Pro, mentioned OH. He says, mentioned different broadcast today. Yes, different platform. Yes, it is. The cool thing about YouTube that I like is with Ecamm, which is the system I'm using, is I can bring you up here on the screen. So, man, I wish that Zoom and some other platforms would do this, but pretty cool. So let's get to it. Derek wanted to know, what was your favorite part about WordCamp US? Derek, far and away, my favorite part was meeting members of Web Designer Pro, my web design community. So I just brought up Austin there. He was there. And if you guys have ever met with people in person that you've known online for any amount of time, it is just, there's something about that experience that is second to none. I can't even explain truly how amazing that was to meet members of my community. And some of them have been my students. A couple of them have been students since like 2018 when I started doing courses, and to like see them and actually talk to them in person. A couple of them, we got to spend some time together, and I heard stories that you would never hear in a video testimonial or a live hot seat or something like that. So yeah, great question, Derek. It was people. It was getting to meet up with a lot of members of my community and actually getting like the face-to-face connection that we all often miss out on as entrepreneurs working from home. The other part of WordCamp that was really cool was meeting some other colleagues and people that I've known for a long time. Same thing. Also, one of my favorite parts about meeting people in person is you never know what their height is going to be. You never know how tall or short somebody's going to be until you meet them in person. So my wife and I were talking, like, it's kind of like a little fun game. It's like, I wonder how tall this person's going to be, because you just never know until you meet them in person. So, man, I had a great time at WordCamp US. I would highly recommend those of you who are WordPress users to get to a WordCamp as soon as you can, even if it's a smaller one. It really is an amazing time. Daniela wanted to know, so Divi question and Google Analytics question. Followed your tutorial to add Google Analytics to the Divi theme. Would the code go away when updating the theme? No. Good news on that, Daniela. No, the code will not go away when you put it in the integrations tab. Is this your most recommended method to add Google Analytics to websites currently? Yeah, for Divi. Yeah, Daniela. In Divi, you can go to theme options if you don't know. For anyone who doesn't know, and under the theme options, there's a setting there. You should put it in the head section, not the body section, but the head section of the Divi theme options. And the good news is, nope, it will not disappear once you update. By the way, if you just joined us, welcome in. Really, really good to be here with you for the next little while, answering any questions you have, primarily about the business of web design, but we're happy to branch outside of that too. Always an open book. Speaking of, Derek wanted to know, podcast-wise, can you tell us the future lineup of podcast interviewees? So yes, my web design business podcast, I'm actually in the process of building out the next pipeline of, not clients, guests for the next 3 months here for the last quarter of 2023. Can't believe it's here already. I had a huge pipeline and I kind of got through it. So I'm not in hustle mode, but I'm definitely light on the interview pipeline right now. So I'm building that up, which is pretty common. I tend to do that quarterly is when I do a big push, unless I just happen to have a ton lined up. This week on the podcast, I've got another web design business coach and agency owner, Tristan Parker. So he's going to be on. He's from the UK, really great guy. Really cool conversation with him on that. I think the week after that, I'm going to have a true agency owner who I don't know his revenue for his agency, but they're pretty dang legit. And we're going to talk proposals and pricing and how they structure agency proposals. How they do line items and productize their proposals. So I'm really excited about that one. And my wife is going to be coming on the podcast soon. One thing we did at WordCamp US when I was hanging out with my members of Pro, because my wife was there too, Emily, and they were all really interested in what our day-to-day life looks like. We ended up talking about that. And I had thought about it at some point, bringing her on. And then I told her, I was like, Cutie, let's get you up on the podcast. And she is not a like in front of the camera girl. Or person. She does not like the attention on her, but I did get her to agree to come on and answer some questions. So keep an eye on my socials. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, that's where I'm active right now. I will be doing a poll probably this week to collect any questions you have about any questions you'd like me to ask my wife on the show. So I'm just excited about that. All right, Jared, what's up, man? Jared want to know, as a solo web designer, what are the pros and cons of using I versus we? Great question, Jared. When describing myself on a website, I found myself going back and forth when writing copy and want to be consistent. Yeah, it is kind of so I guess for you, Jared, it would depend on what the we constitutes. Like if you do have a team, if you have team members, I would definitely say we. If it's just you primarily, but you have a few colleagues that work occasionally with you, you could get away by saying I, but in most cases, I recommend saying we, just because even small businesses, most people know at this point that web designers, if as a soloist, as a true soloist doing everything, that it leads to overwhelm often and often leads to burnout. So I think there's actually more, if I had to choose, I guess I would do we, but just say it's a very small team. Case in point, I'll show you on, and actually I'll go ahead and let me try to share my screen here real quick. There's a couple versions of the In-Transit Studios site. This is the freelance version of my site. So I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody. If you're curious, you can always access the freelance solopreneur version of my website, In-Transit Studios. Now, as of right now, In-Transit Studios is full-blown agency. As the founding owner, when Eric, my CEO, really took off with it, we really kind of went to the more agency route. So it was like a full-fledged team. My version of the business, when I built it and scaled it up for 10 years, I did say we, but you'll notice this is how I structured the team. I just made it very clear I'm the owner, and then we have, and actually before Eric came on as a CEO, it was even smaller than this page, but I just said that we had people who are basically full-time and then people who are collaborators. So Jared, for you, I would recommend doing something similar. Do something to where, yeah, you could say we on the front page, but when it comes to, well, who is we? Is this like an agency of 30 people? Is it Jared and a couple friends? Who is the we? Make it so clear who that is when it comes to who is behind the business. I would recommend you do that anyway for everyone here, and just make it really clear. Even if they're not W-9 or subcontractors, like official subcontractors, just say, I have a collection of people or partner relationship with web designers who collaborate as needed. And if you have a few that often collaborate with you, put those on your team page and just say collaborates frequently or every once in a while. That's what I'd recommend doing. I do recommend getting away from the term I. So if you just joined us, Jared had a good question. I or we, I recommend getting away from I. It is fine when you're starting out, but it definitely feels like a true soloist. And while some clients will like that, I think most clients that I found enjoyed the fact that I was able to retain like the communication side of things. And I had people in like working on projects, getting stuff done while I was doing invoicing and project management. So if I had to choose, I would go with we, Jared. And that's what I recommend doing. All right. So forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Is it Zaha or Zaiha? I know you can't let me know quite right here, but I'll Google translate this one afterward, or how to pronounce after this one. So she wanted to know, joining the Q&A, hoping to get pointed in the direction of a few local SEO specialists to help with a couple clients. I'm in Cleveland. Yes, you're right up the road from me. So I would say if anyone's here and you're into SEO, definitely leave a note in the chat. I know we can't direct message or anything through here, but what I would say is I don't know if it would necessarily need to be local. You're welcome to contact my SEO guru, Michelle, with Words on the Rise. Let me pull up her website real quick. So anyone who has not heard some of my podcast episodes with Michelle, her business is called Words on the Rise. I just posted it in the chat for you. She's my personal SEO consultant, keyword editor, copyright editor. She's awesome. She's a member of Web Designer Pro, my community, and which is open to everyone here, as we'll talk more about that here. It's one reason I love having Pro, and I know we've got some Pro members in the house today. It is such an incredible network of amazing people. So there you go. That one's for free. Reached out. Let her know if you talked to her. Let her know that I sent you from this YouTube chat or this YouTube Q&A. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. I don't know if it would need to be necessarily someone local unless there are local implications for like pictures, if they need to know the area, if there's research that's particular to local stuff. So this is a good point. Should your SEO person be local? That's kind of my own version of that question. It could be for sure. There's benefits to that. But a lot of times the local stuff could be done with keyword research and a few other means when it comes to copy just to target that area. So yeah, great stuff, guys, so far. Christopher with a good question as I take a drink here real quick. Christopher says, I'm more of a developer than a designer, fairly new to SEO. So how can I get clients ASAP without totally flopping on the delivery? So 3 aspects of this, Christopher. More than a developer than a designer, totally fine. New to SEO, that's fine too. Honestly, SEO can come a little later. I do recommend having a basic general knowledge of SEO. I do have a full SEO course for web designers, if anyone doesn't know. For you, Christopher, it's available on my website as its own course. You can just get DIY access, or it is included in Pro for anyone who wants to join us in Pro, because that has all my courses. So I do recommend having an overall knowledge of SEO, but luckily, I think it's more important to have a good sense of design and the development side of things before SEO, because yes, you can, I guess it could be a good argument whether you should learn SEO first or second. I learned it like 5th. I did design, or I really did like basic coding, design, then a little bit of conversion, then SEO was one of the last things I learned. Although you'll find out you really don't need to do that much with SEO to be able to at least get decent rankings. A lot of SEO comes to the copy and to the messaging and to the actual on-site stuff you're doing on site. So I think you're fine, Christopher, to bring your question back up. I really think you're fine. I mean, I would not postpone sales just because you're not super confident with SEO. And again, this is why I have a whole suite of courses that cover literally every aspect you'll need and everyone here will need to feel confident to get clients and to literally get clients. So I'll just go ahead and plug this right now while we're talking about it, because if you are not confident in all the areas of web design, that is why I have Web Designer Pro. This is literally the community, the coaching aspect, and all of my web design courses inside it. So it is what I would recommend if you need the full kit and caboodle with feeling confident with everything in there. And there's a special deal I have for you here while the business course is launching here soon. So actually, I'll show you that now. If you're interested in Pro, as we move forward to the next question, use this code, because right now for Pro, I'm offering a 25% off, but this ends tomorrow when the business course officially goes back to full price because the business course is launching. As the end of the launch is this weekend, ends tomorrow. But if you use this code right here on Pro, you can get access to the business course, all of my courses to help you out with everything. So I would consider that, Christopher. But again, to answer that question, I know a lot of people are probably in this situation where maybe you're good at SEO, but you're not good at design, not good at development. Have a fairly good understanding of as much as you can, but don't let sales be postponed just because you're not a quote-unquote expert in anything there. LeMay's in the house. John, right? John, I'm pretty sure it's John. John's in the house. All right. I like the Austin came with OH, and then we got, a couple Ohioans in the house here. I know Austin is just in Dayton. All right. Jennifer's in the house. So good to see you, Jennifer. Jennifer is a rock star student, a member of Web Designer Pro who has just been through my business course. And actually, Jennifer, if anyone is at all connected with the world of the deaf who are getting into online and web design, Jennifer is actually doing some really cool things for folks who are in the deaf community for website stuff. So I just had somebody who reached out who was asking about if all my courses were captioned because he is somebody who's deaf and wanted to make sure he could get all the content. I said, yep, absolutely. And I have somebody you might want to talk to who can help out. So very cool. Awesome, guys. Let's see here. Jared would like to know, what are some other business side hustles someone could get into that would complement their primary web design work? Graphic design, copywriting, photography. Yes, Jared, all of those would work. I would say graphic design is the most natural because, well, actually, technically copywriting would be the first one of those two. Design is important too. I mean, I came from a graphic design background and then became a web designer, but a lot of people might have branding, logo design, and other graphic design related services in with that. Now, where graphic design gets interesting that I've found and I experience is that there's a difference between web graphics and print graphics. If you're going to do graphic design, I would not do print design unless you really feel like that's a good entry point for your business. Case in point, if you're doing brochures and business cards and anything that's print related or like trade show graphics for banners and stuff, that really is a different world. And it can translate to web design, but I found print design to be a whole nother world. If I were to do anything in print design, I would just do business cards because that, for me, led to a lot of websites. But I've told the story before, and I'll say it here. I found myself at a big bottleneck in my journey when I was working on $200 business card designs, and I had $5,000 websites just sitting on the side waiting for me to get working on them, and I'm tinkering around with updates on a little business card. Eventually, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to go full-time web design. But I do think it is good to answer your question, Jared, to have a few different ancillary services, particularly early on. I would do graphic design or copywriting. Photography is a different beast too. I mean, that can work if you go and do photography for clients. I did that as well. But again, similar to print design, it's pretty different because copywriting you can use in your website. And same could go for graphic design and photography, but copywriting is so intertwined with web design, SEO, and conversion. So of the three, I would do copywriting and then basic design. Like what you could say graphic design, but limit that ideally to like web graphics. That's what I would recommend doing. Great question here. How can we add to cart button on Divi main shop page? I also want to know how I can add custom text of add to a card button on main product page in Divi. So we're getting a little technical here, SK. I would post this in my Divi Web Designers Facebook group. I'll go ahead and pull the link up here real quick. Being that it's, because some of that should be native. Some of that should be native on the Divi shop page. I guess it would depend on if you're using the Divi modules or if you are building WooCommerce out particularly like by itself. So I just posted a link to my Divi Web Designers Facebook group. That is the group that I founded. That is a free Divi support group, and is specific to Divi. So that's where I would post that question and see if you can see. I would post like a screenshot or a video exactly because I can't quite tell exactly what that would be in reference to. Christopher says much appreciated. Thanks, Christopher. I'm glad. Yeah, hopefully that helped. Couple good questions so far on that. All right, I'm just going through the chat here, and let's get back to some questions. All right, so Aretha wanted to know, I've been designing Squarespace websites for almost 10 years and have a web design business, but my biggest frustration is finding clients. Advice, sure. So it doesn't matter what the platform is. Client generation is probably one of the 3 big struggles that all web designers face. Here's the big thing, though. I talk about this in my business course, which is the new version 2.0. You guys maybe have seen it if you've been following me at all for a while. This is something I say in the course and we expand on, and I'll reference it here. And that is, it's because this is a mindset shift. And that is, go back to your question here, Arethia. We do not find clients. We find leads. And then we help them become clients. And the reason I want to focus in on this is because the idea of finding clients, it's a whole different mindset shift when you think about finding leads that then funnel into becoming clients. Because and I'm not saying this is wrong, I mean, we all use this lingo, but if you have the mindset that everyone you meet, that should be a client, that is going to affect how you sell. That's going to affect how you come across. It's going to often probably, you might get nervous and become more salesy when if you were a little more maybe educational and just open to answering questions and offering free advice. It will be different than pressuring, and I'm not saying just you personally, but all of us in this mindset. If you feel like everyone at a networking group or every follower on social media or everyone on an email list is a client, then it's like, why aren't they buying from me, or they should buy from me? But if you treat them as leads, then you can start to filter out who is right for you and who you are right for with your services. So I know it's kind of a vague start to this, but it is a mindset shift when it comes to finding clients versus getting clients, because you find leads, then there's a process in there, then you get clients. Now, the foundation of that, I would say when it comes to finding leads, that's what we can focus on. And there's really 2 main avenues for finding leads. There's online and in person. Now, I will say what I've found, and what a lot of students of mine are experiencing right now, especially after the wake of the past few years with COVID and everything, the more you can do in person, the quicker ROI you're going to have on actually getting clients. So, and the reason for that is because people trust people, and in person is more powerful than ever before. I just recently had a student of mine, Katie Lake, on the podcast, who shared about how she went literally from scarce, like no pipeline of leads, no business lined up, and within a couple months completely turned around. And one of the biggest things that happened is she started literally getting out of her chair, out of her home, and in person into networking group and some different local events. Now, she lives outside of London, so it was a good place to do so. But in your case and everyone's case, if you can do in person, I'm telling you right now, that will be the quickest ROI. And there's a variety of places you could do in-person stuff. It could be like an actual networking group that you join. It could be a referral group. There's a organization called BNI. You do pay for that, but the people there are quality because they're business owners looking for referrals. And remember, anytime you go in person somewhere, let's say there's only 15 people and you're like, dang it, Josh told me to go to a networking group to get clients, and there's only 15 people here, and I don't know if any one of them are going to be clients. But they all know hundreds of people in their network, and if you suddenly become the person who is the web person, that's your sales force. That's how networking works. So in person is what I would recommend. We can go further into that, but that is the biggie when it comes to like the quickest ROI. If you want to go the virtual route, there's a ton of different ways to get clients virtually. It just does take a little longer to build authority, to build trust. My gosh, you could do it by jumping into free groups and free forums if you want to work with other web designers, or if you want to actually find clients online, you have to go to the groups where they're hanging out. So online meetups, there's a lot of different groups, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever that have actual business owners that are in certain industries and niches. That's one of the best ways to go niche if you know of a niche. So that's always an option as well. The other thing I would highly recommend, this is a bit of I guess, underrated strategy. This is actually the last podcast episode I just released a couple days ago, shares some of the top strategies on what a lot of my students who are making 6 figures or close to are doing. And one of them that is a hidden gem is partnerships with other people who do adjacent services to you. So who was it earlier who was asking about the SEO person? Imagine if you connect with an SEO person, that's not something you do, and they do all the SEO, but they don't do that much design. They don't do maybe that much conversion stuff or copy. You guys are a match made in business heaven. So partner up with people to refer each other. And that is such a hidden gem. It's what I unintentionally did for a long time, because through my networking group, I had some referral partners. And even if we didn't quite use that lingo, but I had a videographer who sent me a ton of clients because he did the video work for businesses. And then when they would want to put their video on their website, he's like, oh, you got to talk to my guy, Josh, because you need some website help. And vice versa. If I was working with a business who asked me about doing a video for their site, for their company, I'm like, I don't do video, but I got a guy. So you can be that person for a lot of other people, and you can refer people to them as well. So just a few tips. Again, that's something that's covered in my business course in a lot more detail. We'll bring this up a couple times here. My business course, again, right now, guys, just to make sure you're aware of it, is live right now. The launch sale is live, but the launch sale ends tomorrow, Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So there's actually two ways to get the course. You can get lifetime access by going to joshhall.go/biz right here. And that's automatic. You don't have to do a coupon code or anything for that. You can just join the course. That'll give you lifetime access to it. The reason I bring that up now is because I have a whole module of sales and getting clients. It's different than finding clients. It's finding leads, getting clients, and the whole process between what I like to call the 3 C's: connect, converse, convert. Remember those big 3: connect, converse, convert. Connect with people in person or virtually. Converse with them. That could be strategy calls, discovery calls. That could be back and forth online. That could be DMs. That could be webinars. It could be lives like this. And then convert. And that conversion is generally when you're getting into actual sales techniques. So that's all covered in my business course. Again, you can go here to get lifetime access to the course. Or if you would like to get my whole suite of courses and join us in Web Designer Pro, you can head here, joshhall.co/pro, and then use this code for 25% off, which that'll drop it down to, I think, $149 a month. So it's a steal of a deal for the amount of courses, and you get coaching with me directly too. So again, that's the code for Pro, biz2-launch. I wanted to make sure we talk about that because it's hard to cover getting clients in a 5-minute answer, but hopefully, Aretha, some of those tips helped you. So let me see if there's any comments in regards to that here. And then we'll try to get through some of these pretty quick because we got a lot of good questions coming up here. Derek wants to know, how are the SiteGround socks? Comfy? They are. Let me see if I have them over here. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so this was actually Derek, if you just joined us, Derek asked what was one of the best parts of WordCamp. One of it was getting to meet the team with SiteGround. I've been hosting my website and our clients' websites on SiteGround since 2015, and I finally got to meet one of my main contacts there who I've known for years via email, and they gave me SiteGround socks. I haven't worn them yet. They're still on the tags, but I might put that on this week. It's still been hot here, Derek, in Columbus, Ohio, but it's getting chilly now, so they gave me SiteGround socks. And they even gave me a legit SiteGround towel. So next summer, I'll be rocking the SiteGround towel on the beach. That's the plan. So yes, I do recommend SiteGround, by the way, still. If anyone's curious about hosting, I still love SiteGround. I have zero plans to move from SiteGround. Gosh, they've been rock solid for me. I know everyone has their preferred host, but I still love SiteGround. I think they're the most affordable for what you get. And I love what they're up to. And after meeting the team, I'm telling you, those guys, they're the real deal. So great team, great people, and comfy socks. Chantel want to know, I've been in business for a year and I've raised my pricing since. Good job, good job. I know what I charged currently isn't sustainable. Gotcha. But I feel I can't raise until I'm in the business for longer. Well, it's probably a matter of what we just talked about, Chantel, with lead generation and getting clients. That's probably what I'd say. The big thing here to remember is there's two different ways. There's kind of two different ways to make more. You can either get new clients or you can circle back around to three. There's actually three. Three ways to make more money. One is new clients. Two is previous clients and circle back around with them, getting them to pay you, upselling for more projects, redesigns, additional work, retainer hours, etc. The third one is to raise your rates. And you could do all three, potentially. It depends on what those rates would be and who your ideal customers are and kind of what you're offering in your web design packages. But I would say if you're feeling like, so the challenge here, the issue is you've raised your rates, but you don't want to raise them more for the current clients if you're not getting a lot more clients. So what I would do in this case, Chantel, is I would not raise them more right now. Usually I always say raise your prices, but what I would actually do to kind of test this out is two strategies at the same time. One, circle back around to your previous clients. Offer them something new you're learning. Offer retainer hours. One thing you can do without saying like, hey, I'm Chantel and I have a new service for you. What you could say is just connect with them and offer a consult call or a quote unquote strategy call and just ask them about their business, what challenges they have online. And then that will more often than not, and most definitely at some point, lead to additional work, which you could do retainer hours, you could do repeat work. And that will often lead to website redesigns as well. So that's all circling back around with people who already know, like, and trust you. They're already paid clients. Even if there's three, that's three people who will likely pay you over and over and over again if you're offering it. So I would do that first because that way you don't need to meet new people and sell necessarily. They already know you. You just need to offer something more. Other thing is new clients, lead generation. So like we just talked about a bit ago, I'm not sure if you got to hear that segment, but where can you market your business to find new clients who are qualified for you, who are going to be good fits for you, and you're going to be a good fit for them? Because sometimes, like we talked about a little bit ago, the mindset of I need to find clients, just remember everyone you meet should not be your client. And you shouldn't do work for every person you meet either. You are set up for certain types of clients. Like if you don't do e-commerce, but you meet an e-commerce store owner, again, not a client. It's a lead, but not a good lead. Not as a person or anything like that. It's just business-wise, it's not what you do. I found myself being very leery towards bigger organizations and enterprise-style clients because I just was not set up for that. I didn't even love doing a lot of e-commerce. That wasn't my personal thing. So I tended to steer away from people who had huge shops and like big companies that had boards, and I knew it was going to drain 6 months out of my life kind of thing. I steered away. I found a sweet spot with small to medium-sized businesses and then in certain niches of websites that I've already done. So I would say think about that when it comes to marketing, and that's going to help you determine your pricing too as we get back into that idea of pricing, because you've been in business for a year. That's great. You've raised your prices, couple great stepping stones there. I would circle back around with previous clients and then really look at your marketing. Ask yourself, where did you get those clients? And this is something that a lot of us don't do. It's easy to get to a rut and you're like, why don't I have new clients come in? Well, the first thing I recommend doing, and I do this myself often, is like, well, where did the people who are in my, like the people who filled my bank account, where did they come from? And that'll give you a really good idea of where you should continue to market, because you want to continue to do what's working. So that's what I recommend doing, is really circle back around with clients, ask them where they came from. The really good clients that you got, market there and really stick to that strategy. That should help you kind of turn things around there too. Oh, Jennifer says the business course was awesome for that. I'm sure we'll speak to it, but gotten so much out of how in terms to market herself. So yeah, very timely. Jennifer is marketing herself. She just recently went through the business course, which is again available. You can go to joshhall.co/biz to get lifetime access right now before the course does go back to full price tomorrow at 9 p.m. Or you can get it in my community, Web Designer Pro, right here. And again, we'll probably cover this a few times. I just don't want you to lose this discount. Use this discount, which will now be 24 or 25% off, Biz2-launch, in honor of the business course being launched in there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. SK would like to know one more question. I'm calling you SK, by the way. I'm assuming that's not your name. How can I add call now button for mobile Divi devices in my Divi site? My website has 100 plus city pages. I want to add different numbers, call now button for different city pages. I don't know if I would do different numbers. I mean, what you can do is a few different ways you could do this with Divi. The easiest way with Divi without getting into the code would be to create a little call now block with like the phone and the number. And you can make it a global element. So you could go into the theme options and create a global footer or a global sidebar for all those custom post types for those like service-based pages or location-based pages. And then you could set that little section, you could set it to be fixed on the bottom of the screen. That way you wouldn't need to code anything. You could do it with the builder, and it would automatically apply to all those post types. It's one reason I love Divi still, is what you can do with the theme builder. So I know that's not visual. Sometimes it's hard to explain things visually, but that's what I would do in that case. Eleanor wanted to know, sorry, dumb question, but is this no longer in Circle? Eleanor, no. Web Designer Pro is in Circle still. This is just this is to everyone. So this is a public live Q&A. So Eleanor is a member of Web Designer Pro. This is the kind of thing, it's a little more interactive in Pro because we do website reviews and hot seats where I bring members up. But we do that inside of Web Designer Pro. Web Designer Pro is built through Circle. So it is, if you guys are not familiar with Circle, it's my #1 recommendation for any sites you build that have community, coaching, and courses. I'll show you real quick if you want to see it, if you're not familiar. Let me log in real quick. I'll show you. So I'll give you a peek behind the curtain, if you will, for Web Designer Pro. So this is Web Designer Pro. When you join, you have access to coaching, which have upcoming calls. So you'll see here, like this week, the CEO of my agency, Eric, is teaching on lead generation, very timely after what we talked about. And then you can see all of our upcoming calls and sessions. And I actually go live in Web Designer Pro. So these are weekly sessions with me for Q&A. Again, we do website reviews for members who have websites they want reviewed. And then we do hot seats where if you have a question you want to ask me live, you can come up with me and we can chat live. And then we do monthly trainings. Like next month, John Saunders is coming in to talk SOPs. After that, Sarah Dunn is talking local SEO, all topics we've already talked about. And then after that, we're talking about scaling. So that's in the coaching. There is the community aspect that has different forums and topics for the entire community. And then all the courses. You'll see all my courses are here: business course, maintenance plan, SEO, design, process, scary stuff, cPanel, my Divi related courses, all under here in courses as well. So yeah, that's a quick look at Web Designer Pro. So that's why I recommend definitely, if you're interested in the entire suite of courses, that's what I would do. But yes, Eleanor, to answer your question, this is not a Web Designer Pro thing. This is an everybody thing. I'm going to try to do more lives here moving forwards, particularly on YouTube, and maybe stream them to Facebook too, just to be able to answer. I know everyone isn't at a place to join Pro right now or isn't a member, so I want to be able to ideally answer questions everybody at some point, maybe once a quarter or so. All right, good question here. In India, there is so much competition. They offer website design for cheap. We'll just call it cheap. How to deal with this challenge? Well, one of the challenges, you don't need to necessarily compete with them. If in that case, you're going to be marketing online, so I would join. So whatever tools you're using, if you're using Divi, for example, I would join my Divi Web Designers Facebook group. And don't come out and say, hire me, these are my rates, but just be super helpful, because this is how I literally started getting projects in Facebook groups. Actually, my lead developer, Christian, I hire him usually every month for something. He's an incredible white label designer and a business owner himself. He got his start by just being really helpful in Facebook groups and forums. So that's how you can start, because you can build some trust there. Most people who are in these groups, if they go in there just to get projects, they are going to come across like asking for work, but you don't want to be that person. You're not going to get any work. But if you're really helpful, that will then give you the chance and opportunity to say when the time comes, I'd love to help you out, or if you want to know more, we could do it, or I could DM you, and then you could do an offer like that. But as far as the rates go, the cool thing about being online is you don't need to offer the rates that people are doing locally to you, because it's online. You can 100% offer rates that are Western, standard USD. If depending on your skill set and where you are, that's totally fine. Like when I hire subcontractors, I don't look at their location and expect them to just charge rates from their location. I mean, a lot of people stateside will do that to keep expenses down, but if you're really damn good, charge really damn good rates. That's the moral of the story. You don't need to, like, there's a famous picture of Michael Phelps, the swimmer. I think it was in the Olympics, right? Where he's like swimming and there's a guy next to him who just lost to Michael Phelps. And the reason he lost is because he was looking over at him and he was at the very end focused on where Michael was. That analogy is so good in business because if you're focused on what everyone around you is doing, you're only going to get as far as them. So don't look at them. Don't worry about it. They don't need to know what you're charging. You know your value. And whether you're in India or whether you're in the Philippines or whether you're in Chicago or LA, you know your value. You know what you need to bring home to support you and your family and whatever lifestyle freedom it looks like to you. So 100% charge the rates that suit you and are value driven for you. Again, a lot of people like Western business owners and stuff, even if your rate is double what they charge locally in your area, but if it's half of what somebody might charge living in like where I am in Columbus, Ohio, it's still a win-win. It's double what you would normally make, and it's half as much as somebody would be expected to pay here if it's like $100 an hour. So yeah, great question though. I really like that question. So hopefully that helps. Don't look at your local competition. When you're online, it's you. But you do need to have the competence and the skill set and the design chops to back that up. So not saying you don't, but just remember the rates are going to be dictated by skill set. So I would recommend doing that. And the more you learn, better you get, more you can charge. Great questions, guys. This is fun. Are you guys having fun? Are you enjoying this? I'm enjoying this. It's been a long time since I've done a YouTube Q&A, so I could see a lot of new names and some fresh questions and stuff. I love doing our weekly pro calls, but it is fun, too, to kind of branch out and see some new blood. So until you come and join Web Designer Pro, because we love having new blood in Pro, too. All right, so Beverly wanted to know, I'm a freelance web designer, but I'm looking into website subscription plans. Hey, all right. Could you give me some tips on how to proceed? So there's two kind of recurring income. Well, there's a lot of different recurring income channels, but the two main, so when you say website subscription plans, I'm guessing that's not freelance, or excuse me, I'm guessing that's not maintenance plans, Bev. I recommend everybody, close up time, important time, everybody right now should be doing hosting and maintenance plans. One more time for everyone multitasking or watching a football game. Come back to me. Every one of you should be doing hosting and maintenance plans. Whether you like it or not, you are the middleman. And even if you don't want to do hosting, you're going to get the calls when somebody has a domain down or something's going on with their email or whatever. You're getting the call. I know you are because I did. So you should definitely be charging for that. So that's the foundation. Hosting and maintenance, wrap them up together. One thing I teach in my maintenance plan course is that you offer those together. That way they never cancel your maintenance, because especially WordPress designers, we're updating things, we're optimizing things, and then that leads to upsells, and you can do different tiers of plans, basic, medium, and advanced. And then for the clients like e-commerce clients or ones who are really needy, you have something for them that's higher end. So I'd recommend doing that for sure. As far as subscription plans go, Bev, if it's more of the subscription web design style of things, I have a good colleague of mine, Steve Schramm, who's also a member of Web Designer Pro. He did a training recently about subscription web design, and he is the king of subscriptions because what he did is his entire business model is subscription. Now, there's a lot of value to that, but there's also some cons to that in the way of it's a long game approach. If you're doing subscriptions for $99 a month or $300 a month on average for full website designs, it's great because you can lock them into like a 18-month contract, but it takes a while to get to the point where you're making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10K plus monthly. Now you can get there and you can have larger plans, but it does take a little bit longer. So in most cases, so in this case, mostly what I would recommend doing, and I have some students doing this, we actually just talked about this recently in Weekly Call in Pro, is to do website subscription as a fallback plan or as an option if somebody just does not have the $10,000 to do a full website design right now. You could say, well, one option we could do is we could do the subscription plan for this. And maybe it's more than 10K over an 18-month period, but it would at least give them an option to do that. Or they could just strip down the deliverables for this phase of the project, and then you could do that in like a $297 a month subscription plan. So that's how I would start. Make it a kind of fallback plan initially. You could eventually offer it one time or subscription, but then you get people you make two decisions for them, really. I'm actually, side note, experiencing this with my setup with courses in Web Designer Pro, is it kind of sucks. Part of me loves having the option to just buy a course and have lifetime access to it. 'Cause sometimes I'm like that. I don't have time for a community. Just give me the course. I'll go through it. Sometimes I do that, but then sometimes I want a community and I want coaching and I want to talk to somebody directly. And that's what I do in Pro. So I'm experiencing this too. By the way, when it comes to having different business models within a service, is my courses you can get them lifetime access, one off, or you can get them inside of Web Designer Pro, and there's coaching with me in community. So 2 different options, 2 different avenues. Same thing with web design though. You could say we have a subscription option that's like $4.99 a month for a year or 18 months for like a $10,000 project or whatever you'd break that out to. Or it's one-off, but the one-off is generally going to be less expensive. You always want to make the one-time payments or like typical hybrid, like 50 up front, 50% upon completion. You typically always want to make those less expensive. Otherwise, somebody's going to be like, well, I'll just go subscription then. But again, it just takes longer to build subscription up. So hopefully that helped, Bev. Yeah, let me know if that helped you out there. Great questions again, guys. All right, I'm going through the chat here to see if I can find the next question. Michelle said, when I was talking about bottlenecking earlier, speaking my language. Yeah, we feel you. Michelle wanted to know, I think I'm late to this question. Does the promo code work for monthly subscriptions? Will it discount the first month? If you use this code, Michelle, and anyone interested in joining Pro, here's what's exciting about this. It will be applied to your membership for as long as you're a member. So you can literally get 25% off Pro right now. Just use this code because as the business course is launching, I really want to get this into the hands of as many people as possible. So this is the code, biz2-launch on Pro, and that will be applied to your monthly subscription for as long as you're a member. So I highly recommend checking that out. You get access to all the courses, again, coaching with me, community, everything that you're going to need. It really is. We got a lot of Pro members here who will back you up in that, I'm sure. So, yeah, there you go. Let me know if you have any other questions on that. If you guys do have questions on that, by the way, you can email me, josh@joshhall.co. I do read my email. I'm very responsive on my email. I actually prefer email over DMs or anything else. Somebody wanted to call me the other day. I'm like, no, just email me. It's the quickest for me, at least. So yeah, great question, Michelle. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Derek, one of those, Stephanie Hudson and Divi Chat mentioned turning off cache while developing a site. Can you talk a little more about it? Oh, good question. So the thing about a cache is it does make it a freaking pain in the butt when you're doing CSS in particular. Now, so we're getting technical here, but for anyone who has, like, let's say you're on SiteGround, which has a caching plugin where you could click clear the cache. I actually have a refresh cache on my browser that I click after I do CSS changes. And sometimes themes can take a little while to refresh. Although if you're just doing like the Divi builder, when you make a change, whether CSS or the page, it'll pop up automatically. But caching can be a total pain. So yes, you can do without it, but what I would do is you just have to have a bit of a system. Like every time you do a CSS update, you got to clear the cache here, clear the cache here. That's how you'll get those changes to show. But yeah, the quickest way to go about that would just be to turn off whatever caching system you're using on a site. That way, when you do a CSS update and you upload it, it shows. Awesome, guys. Ray would like to know, can you provide examples of successful lead generation websites that I can take inspiration from? So I guess lead generation websites, I guess you're probably talking about like lead generators on websites. I would imagine, whether it's a webinar or free ebook or whatever that looks like. Yeah, I can show you a couple here. Let me pull a couple up. We'll do, trying to think of some ones that are top of mind here. And I believe, hold on a sec. I have a bookmark of some members of Pro who have websites that are killing it. So let me look real quick. Sorry, guys, you're watching me work here. I'm trying to find. There was one I wanted to show you. Usually it's related to email lists for lead generators because you're going to offer like a freebie of some sort. And a freebie could be an audit. Audits are pretty popular. It could be a workshop, could be a training. Usually you're going to give something for free or like an offer that somebody just cannot refuse. So let me pull something up real quick and we'll take a look at this. I know we're getting close on time too, so we'll bust through some other questions. I just wanted to check something because I'm pretty sure. Okay, you can do newsletters too. Okay, so I'll share this with you real quick. Let me share my screen. And all right, so Kayla's been one of my students. She has a brand. My gosh, I just love what Kayla's up to. It's called Good Cheer Web Design. She has a membership site for her clients, and she's using Circle actually. And here's one example for you, Ray. Create an irresistible homepage that will convert visitors to buyers. So her lead generator in this case is a checklist. So you could do a checklist that would be. The thing about this is do not make a lead generator for other web designers. This is what most web designers do accidentally is you'll do like 5 reasons why you should use WordPress or 5 reasons why Squarespace is the builder. But that's generally going to go towards people who are DIY or other web designers. But if you can phrase it for a business owner, for your ideal clients, this is a great example of how to have a lead generator that will get somebody onto your email list, and then you can set up a funnel or a bunch of autoresponders that will then go to them. I use MailChimp for email marketing, and often what happens is they call it journeys in MailChimp, which is where I can set up, like if someone joins my email list, you'll get a few emails kicked out to you every day or every other day for a little while. So that's a good example. One here is April Ray, a member of Web Designer Pro. She was on the podcast recently. She's all about email. So what she actually does is I think she has a pop-up. Let's give it a second here. I'm pretty sure she has a pop-up that comes out here. Now you could do this, want my free email newsletter workbook and template. So that's an area you could do that. I wouldn't consider this a lead generator, but she actually has, in order to get a quote, she has like this, there it is. She has a fit pricing guide. So here's her lead generator. It's an email newsletter. It's actually what we saw originally, but this just comes in, what was that, maybe 10, 15 seconds? Comes in a little bit later. Nice picture of April. It explains what it is, some value in there, and then you can sign up like that. So you could do the pop-up route too. I know some people don't like pop-ups, some do. Accessibility, I don't know what the state of pop-ups are with accessibility now, but always an option. And again, this is something that was up here originally, and then you could always do something like Kayla did as well, which is just take this and make it a section down here too. So I would maybe I'll even tell April this week since she's in Pro. I might say, April, what if we put that here, maybe down here, maybe up here, instead of right here, maybe have that in this section here. That way they see it, and if someone blows past it, they still get to pop up. So it's a 1-2 punch. And then lastly, real quick, right now, my CEO, Eric, within Transit Studios, he's done mostly free lead generators for Google My Business profiles. That has been a great entry point to help grow my agency. 6 steps to increase your exposure on Google, and then you'll click to get the copy. And this is a good way to do it too. So actually, unintentionally, we looked at a few different options on lead generators. This just links down to it, and then you can design it however you want. If you're ever going to do a cheat sheet or a checklist or an ebook or anything like that, I would make a graphic like this just to kind of show what you're going to see. Make it really clear, though. I will say when it comes to lead generators like this, please make it so clear what you're signing up for. If it's a video training, let them know it's a video training. Let them know how long it is. Because some people might expect a guide and they get a video, or some people worse might expect a video training and then they get like a PDF guide. Like, well, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. So make it really clear what that is and try testing them. Like do one that's a cheat sheet, Ray, for everyone doing this. Try one that's a cheat sheet. Try it for a month. See how it works. If people want a free training from you, like that's something visual, something that you're an expert on or you know a lot about, do that. Try those out a little bit. I'm actually working on this right now. I'm revamping my lead generators as well. So I'd recommend it. We were talking about in-person networking a little while ago. Jennifer said I just joined the BNI group, and I think it's going to do exactly what we're talking about here. Yes, Jennifer, you're right. When it comes to in-person networking, BNI groups, referral groups, the way to go. The way to go as far as, and not instant. I mean, sometimes it takes a little while, But man, it's the way to go. So we're at close to 1 here. I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to do a final call for questions. I'll go a little past an hour today because I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too. So we'll go a little further today, but last call for questions. Last call for questions here, so make sure to get them in. Dogan wants to know, how can I advertise my online web shop? I'm building one myself and don't know the further steps once it's done. Yeah, great point, because like shop, and I don't know what you're using, Dogan, but Shopify, WooCommerce, any of these online shops, a lot of them say make money online. And it's like, all right, I'm going to build a store. And then what happens when you build your store? Everyone knows what happens. Those happen. The dreaded crickets. We don't want crickets. Which means you have to promote. And that goes back to marketing and online shops. Like it would depend completely on what you're selling. If it's like a low barrier to entry item, like a low cost item, like a t-shirt or something like that, then it's going to be a scale game. Facebook ads, partnerships with companies who would want to do that is going to be big. I would also not discount, metaphorically, working with brands that are going to buy in bulk. Like I had one of the online shops I built was for a local business and like a family-run business. And their moneymaker was not selling individual shirts. Theirs were working with schools and organizations because they would buy in bulk. They would buy like 500 t-shirts and then they would make a ton of money off of one client. One client, lots of money, less headache, less overwhelm. It's the same model I recommend with web design too. Cheap prices, cheap products. It's a scale game. Totally fine, just different marketing avenue. So I hope that helps. Again, Michelle answered your question about this. As we've been talking about, guys, as we get ready to wrap up here with some final questions, Web Designer Pro, which includes all my courses. You can go to joshhall.co/pro. You get access to the community and a direct line of coaching with me. I will literally coach you directly. We have a DM line together. Use this code, Biz2Launch, which will give you a 25% off discount that's ongoing in honor of the new business course that just launched, and that is out. And the launch sale ends tomorrow. You can always join the course in the future, but the launch sale is on till tomorrow at 9 p.m. Now, if you're not ready for Pro and you just want the business course, a lot of what we talked about here is covered. You can get lifetime access to the course. Go right there, joshhall.co/biz. That's all automatic for you. You just join that, lifetime access to the course. I'm also doing a 14-day money-back guarantee on that, so there is zero risk when it comes to that. So 2 options for the course, DIY, lifetime access, or get it in Pro. You'll have it access for as long as you're a member and community and coaching. Awesome, guys. All right, so let's get to some final questions here. Good notes on SiteGround. So sometimes I get to these comments like 10 minutes or 15 minutes after we talked about them because YouTube, it's just propagating a little slower. Let's see. Ophelia, is that right? I've been using Namecheap reseller, but considering switching to SiteGround. In what ways is SiteGround better? I don't know too much about Namecheap, but it sounds kind of cheap to me. Hey, dad joke. All right. I just love SiteGround. I don't know too much about Namecheap, so I don't want to bash them or anything. But from what I have heard and from the little I know, Namecheap is not as robust as what SiteGround offers. SiteGround really, they have got it going on with optimization tools, with all sorts of hosting stuff. I'm actually about to do some tutorials here on YouTube with some of the new features that SiteGround's doing, so I highly recommend it. If anyone's considering SiteGround, you can use my link for a deal, joshhall.co/SiteGround, and that will bring you to this page where the folks at SiteGround have been kind enough to offer a deal for everyone here. So they gave me an official recommended buy page. Yeah, you can get started for just a few bucks. I think it's monthly. So I'd recommend it. joshhall.co/SiteGround will take you over here. That is an affiliate code. But yeah, I thought that was awesome that they were willing to do that for everyone. So, and then getting to meet them in person, I was like, yeah. Because I remember a couple years ago, I was like, should I go to a new host? I didn't have a problem with SiteGround, but I was like, are there better options? We all do that, right? You just get used to a tool or used to something and you want something new, or you heard somebody say you should host with Cloudways or you should host with WP Engine. You're like, well, maybe I should. SiteGround's been awesome. So joshhall.co/SiteGround will give you a deal there. And again, it's just more to your question real quick. It's just a more full hosting service with some awesome plugins for optimization and cool stuff. Chantel said, I have to go, but we'll watch the replay. Is Web Designer Pro also good for Show It, Shopify designers, or just WordPress? Chantel, it's everybody. So if you're gone now, but you're watching the replay, Pro is agnostic to all platforms. We have everybody. Some of my courses I do have my Divi courses in there, but if you don't use Divi, you don't have to go through those. You can just go business, SEO, design, maintenance plans, all those. Now, maintenance plans are going to differ for Shopify and Show It that are self-hosted, but if there's ever something you're curious about, that's the cool thing about Pro is you can just email me and DM me in Pro, and we can talk about the ways that we can take a lot of the lessons from the courses and make it work for your setup. But yeah, we have designers in there using Webflow now. We have a lot of Squarespace designers. So I'd say it's probably 60% WordPress, but a lot of other tools and platforms too. And one thing that I've noticed with Pro and with a lot of online communities now is you might use WordPress, but also use another platform or also use another theme. We have a lot of people in Pro who are Divi users like myself, but also do Elementor and Oxygen or Bricks, a couple of them. So yeah, I have intentionally made that to be agnostic to everybody. That way, knowing that I've seen a shift in the landscape where people generally use a few different tools now, I wanted to make, because like the business course that I have for you guys, it does not matter what tool you use. And even in the course, I share like the project management tools. There's like 100 tools you can choose from. And I do help you choose what's right for you and show you what I use and what I like, but highly recommend it. And then, yeah, Jennifer said I was thinking, I forgot that you were Show It, Jennifer. I was thinking you came from Squarespace. So Show It designer and now over to WordPress. Yeah, Jennifer has joined the dark side to Divi and WordPress from Show It. I've heard good things about Show It too, but there's just pros and cons with all that. Okay, last round of questions here, guys. So if you have any final questions, drop them now. Final last call. We're going to blow through the last few here. Where I'm missing it. Have you ever done any rank and rent work? No. I'm guessing that's SEO related. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with that term on how that would apply to websites. I'm guessing it's like SEO rankings, but guarantees are tricky because there's so many variables, especially with SEO. You could do all the work you could to the best of your ability, but if it's, there's problems on the client end on things, I wouldn't get paid to get ranked, basically, if that's what that's referencing. Nicholas says, great advising on pricing. Most clients outside my area because I charge what I'm worth, and it's way more than my area. Yeah, there you go, Nicholas. Nicholas said it. Prime example of doing what I talked about a little bit ago. Don't price by your local area, price by your value, because we're online. Nobody cares. Now, if you're networking in person, you could have a starting tier that helps your local area, but get them going. And the reality is, even if you're charging decent amount, remember, you guys are doing something that's helping people grow their business. You're helping people make money. If you help people make money, you can charge for that correctly. So don't forget that. You're not just moving pixels around and building a website. You guys are business builders. That's what you are. There's a new email tagline for everybody. Web designer / business builder. I saw your note, by the way, Derek, saying you're enjoying the Q&A. Awesome. I asked a little bit ago. And Nicholas said, digging the TIE fighter in the background. Yeah, my shelves are pretty full up now. Otherwise, I mean, I could have put all my toys back there. I could have had a Walker, could have had an X-Wing, could have had a Y. We could have had a whole Star Wars situation going back here. But I had to put my family up there. And then Lisa, one of my web design students, this for any Friends fans, the Central Perk sign back here, that was actually a gift from Lisa, because my wife and I watch Friends often on like repeat at night when we're chilling or cleaning up the house, doing some dishes or something. So I told Lisa, because she was a founding member of Web Designer Pro, and she sent me that. And I was like, by golly, when I get into my new office, that sign's going up on the shelf. So excited to have that too. So yeah, I don't know too much about Show It. I'm a WordPress guy. The reality is, guys, every platform can work on SEO. WordPress just is deeper. You can go so much further and deeper with WordPress because you have access to everything. It's not a self-hosted platform. So you could get into all the code if you wanted, and there's a lot more tools for SEO and just much more flexibility. So that's why I still love WordPress. Derek's been thinking about doing website subscriptions. Yeah, Derek, like I said earlier, I would offer it as a fallback plan. before offering it as like a main service because it is slow going, slow building, but there's definitely no reason not to. I mean, honestly, if I were to go back and tell Josh from 10 years ago when I was just really starting to get momentum on my business, but I wasn't converting at a high rate necessarily, I would say offer subscriptions as a fallback plan. So the ways to get clients that have worked for me, personally, we talked about this earlier, Sherry, so I'm not sure how much you saw. You can always watch the replay on this. Personally, though, for me, it was my networking group. I am such a fan of in-person networking. And even if you're an introverted person, you can still go to in-person networking groups and you don't need to sell. All you have to do is just show up as the web designer and answer questions. And even if you don't know that much, you know way more than everyone in that room. So you will be an expert day one, guaranteed. But yeah, that's what helped me big time was my networking group, just because like we talked about a little bit ago, a lot of them were my paying clients, but more often it was who they knew. Because when you go to a networking group and there's 20 people, now you're the web designer for 20 people and their entire network. So you have just opened the door to maybe 500 people that you could potentially get work from, and they could be leads. Again, they're not all going to be clients, but they could be leads. That's why I love networking. Now, how long would it take to build an Instagram profile and reach people cold and go that route to get 500 followers? A lot longer than going to one networking group. I'm not against the Instagram route, but it's just a different game. It's different marketing. Sorry, my golden retrievers are in here and their hair is floating around. One just went in my mouth. All right. Derek, what have you got? Okay, so that question for Derek there. Very cool. Derek's an affiliate with SiteGround. Easy to get the client to buy hosting, then become a collaborator. That's an option too for the hosting. I prefer to have the client, personally, I prefer to have the client pay me and I take care of the hosting. But I do let clients know, just let them know they can always have their website. If for whatever reason the client's like, Derek, I'm done with you, Derek. I'm moving. You can still allow them to have their website and ownership and they can move it. Not that that's never going to happen for Derek, but it's always an option. Because I do think it's really important to make sure people have access to their site if they decide to move. But that's an option, the collaborator thing. I think this was in relation to the example I showed with the lead generator. So yeah, glad that was a help. Says our first live session. I love it. More where this came from, baby. And again, if you want to do this every week with me, but we do website reviews and it's a little more immersive. Again, I know if you've been through here for the whole time, you might be getting sick of seeing this, but join us in Pro. There is, even if you just try it out for a month, and I'm considering, I don't know if I should say this publicly, but I'm really considering doing a trial option on it just because I want people to just see the goodness that's happening in here. But you can join us in Pro. And again, here's your code to get 25% off, which is ongoing for as long as you're a member. Biz2-launch for Pro. Because we do this every week. Awesome. Raphael says, great information. Sweet. Okay, and then Bev said, in relation to the subscription stuff, really helps to get some ideas. Love the idea of pairing hosting and maintenance as a set plan. Yes, definitely. Because I actually reversed. Originally, I did both together, and then I got sick of being the domain middleman. So I split them, and I was like, you can buy your own domain, and then your hosting, and I'll just do your maintenance. But guess what happened? I was still getting all the calls. I was still the middleman. I just wasn't getting paid for it. And then I'd have to be like, well, I could do this, but it's going to have to be at my hourly. And they're like, oh, isn't this, you're maintaining the site. And then I was like, yeah, but I'm not doing the hosting now. It just became a mess. Doing it all together worked out so much better. And quick tip real quick. I talk about this in my maintenance plan course, but quick tip. When you have separated hosting and maintenance, people will try to cancel maintenance at some point. If business ever slows down or they're not understanding the value, they will cancel maintenance plans. But guess what clients do not cancel? Their hosting, because they don't want their website to go down. So linking them together is protection for you too. Highly recommend it. Derek said, what is the branded box around your microphone joint? So this is called a mic flag, and there's a place called PBS, Impact PBS. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. If anyone has a mic and you want to put your face on your mic, there you go. Or if it's branded to your brand, make it your own. But Impact PBS, I'll share my screen real quick. This is the site. It's pretty cool. It's super cheap too. This was like $57. This is a great company. And excuse me. Yeah, you could just send in your artwork, and then next thing you know, when you do client calls, they're like, "Whoa, Derek, is that your face on your mic?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, I'm going to buy whatever you're selling if you can afford a $60 mic flag." Heck yeah. Awesome. So let's see here. Last round of questions here. Great chat here too, guys. I'm trying to get caught up in everything. Okay, really good questions here. So Sherry, let me know if you need that coupon code. I think we got that. Sean want to know, I jumped in late. Where can we find your offer online? So for Web Designer Pro, if you're still here, Sean, just go to joshhall.co/pro and then use this code, biz2-launch for 25% off Pro. And again, the web design business course is in there, or if you just want the course lifetime access, DIY, you just want long-term access to the course, just head to joshhall.co/biz, and that's how you can just get the course itself, curriculum, and lifetime access. A couple different options for you, depending on what works best for you. So, Kieran, is that right? Offering a checklist, covering conversion tips, which ends up not being great for converting web design clients. Mostly DIYers. Yeah, because clients aren't going to it's a good point, Kieran. Clients are not going to understand the word conversion usually. That's a web design term. But if you say get more clients through my website, then clients like, oh, that sounds good. Let's do it. So make like word your conversion towards clients. Oh, thanks, Sean, for pushing that out there. I appreciate it, man. So they got it. Cool. I'm late to some of these comments because they're down below. Yep, Jennifer likes an exit pop-up more than that comes up right away. Yep, very cool. Derek, yeah, Derek's pretty far on the accessibility front. Pop-ups are accessible if done correctly. Cool. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, Kevin Geary was on my podcast recently. Really, really savvy developer. I consider him a developer first guy. So I'm glad to hear that Frames has that. That's cool. Sound effect for the win, says Jennifer. Yeah, I'm using the Rodecaster Pro for sound effects. So I didn't even applause everybody for cool things going on. So thank you guys for showing up. There's a round of applause. All right, last few questions here. Do you recommend Google Ads for small web design? I would do that very last, Kieran. I would do ads last resort. Ads are expensive. You have to do so much more to build trust and authority. I would do in-person networking, online networking in groups, and do affiliate partners with people who are adjacent to you. Every strategy that I cover in my business course and that we talked about earlier, apart from Google Ads. You can do Google Ads, or often it might lead to something else, but Google Ads is similar. It's a long game approach, a scale approach too. Awesome. Kieran said, congrats on the new launch. Been listening to the podcast. I know you've been working hard and excited for it. Thanks, Kieran. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm super excited about the business course. The stuff we've talked about so far has been scratching the surface, but it really is the whole in-depth kit and caboodle. So any questions you guys have, email me. I'm going to keep an active eye on my email this weekend because the launch sale for the course ends tomorrow, and the launch sale for Pro, or that coupon code for Pro, ends tomorrow by 9. So hit me up, any questions. There's no reason you guys should not be thriving in your web design business right now. I know it's a blanket statement, but the course really does fill in the gaps for everything that you're going to need. And then I'm here to support you too. Nicholas said, great live session. Thanks for coming, Nick. Let's see here. Let's get to any final questions. Oh, per the rank and rent thing, it's a bad tactic for SEO. Black hat as opposed to white hat. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I have to look at that. See if there's any final questions, and then we will rock on here. Krista Walsh says, Derek, copywriter on your podcast and video show. She just redesigned her site and has a good story. Let me bookmark that name here. I'll pull her Walsh. I do actually have Kyle Van Dusen with the admin bar. He referred me to his personal copywriter, Amy. I think Amy Wood. Amanda. I think it's Amy Wood. She's coming on the show soon. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But I'll check out what Krista's up to as well. All right. Just searching for any final questions. Jennifer, thanks for mentioning Pro. Yeah, Jennifer is such a rock star member of Pro. She's been growing as a designer and a business owner more than I ever imagined. Oh, Jennifer, That's testimonial gold right there. So I'm gonna have to put that on the front page. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot this because Jennifer's on it. I so appreciate hearing that, Jennifer, and I might just have to put that on the sales page for Pro because that you just mentioned it. Yeah, I mean it really is. It's built and meant to help you with everything you need, from the material and the courses, the curriculums, the community aspect. And then you ping me with any questions, and I give you direct coaching. I'll look at your sales pages. I'll help you with your pricing, and we rocking and rolling. So awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining, everybody. Great session. Sound like everyone had a good time. Let me see if there's any final questions here. All right, thank you, guys. And then last question goes to Westchester Websites. Question on security. I hired a maintenance company to maintain my website, and they said they give the security plugin but don't monitor it. Oh, that's interesting. That is odd. That is odd, Westchester Websites. But don't monitor it. Yeah, that's odd. If you guys, I tell you what, if you want somebody to do your maintenance for you, of course, I have my maintenance plan for those of you who want to offer that for recurring income for your clients. But I would highly recommend, and I'll put the link in here for you, if you go to joshhall.co/ I think it's at Focus WP. Oh, I need to figure out that link. I haven't put it on my site yet, but you can check out Focus WP. Well, I tell you what, if you use Focus WP, tell them I sent you. Tell them I referred you. But Focus WP, oh my gosh, they're awesome. They literally are a team for you and can handle your hosting and maintenance. Well, as far as like maintenance for your clients, if you want, they are your white label partner. So highly recommend checking out focuswp.co. Tell them I sent you if you talk to them. I'm actually working on getting my affiliate link all set up with them, but they will give you a deal if you tell them I sent you. So Focus WP is probably what I'd recommend in that case. Because yeah, that's odd for a maintenance plan to not do monitoring. I mean, you could do that in Manage WP or a ton of other tools. You have the security in there, and then monitoring is I mean, I use Manage WP and I love it because you can monitor sites and include it in monthly reports all on Manage WP. You can check uptime and include that. So I highly recommend doing that. Very, very cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, access to all the courses. That's just month to month. That code will drop it down to, I think it's $149 for a month. That gives you access to everything. So any questions, guys, let me know. You can always email me, josh@joshhall.co. With any questions, I'll get back to you before the launch sale's over this weekend for the business course. Hopefully the music's good. All right. if you enjoyed this, let me know, because I think we'll do this again. I think we'll do this again very, very soon. We'll do some more public lives. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you had a good time too. All right, guys, have a great weekend. See you inside the business course and or Web Designer Pro, and I'm excited to help you even further with your web design business.